Well, away from that, let's shift our attention to politics. The opposition MPP is accusing the Mahama administration of unleashing a calculated campaign of harassment and intimidation against its members. The party's General Secretary, Justin Frimpong says state security agencies and sections of the judiciary have been turned into political weapons used to silence opponents and crush dissent. Justin Kodia says despite repeated warnings and protests by the NPP, government remains deaf to the calls for restraint, adding that Ghana's democracy is now being slowly poisoned by the abuse of power.
The New Patriotic Party had to cause a complaint against government-sponsored harassment and persecution of our members. The party held demonstration and numerous press conferences on matter, reminding President John Mahama and his government that we are a nation of rule of law, and asked the NDC government to put a stop on their continuous weaponization of the state security and the judiciary against political opponents. Unfortunately, all our calls have fallen on deaf ears, but as a party, we shall not back down on our resolve to fight this injustice. It is increasingly concerning that the state security agencies continue to flout with impunity the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 14, on the grant of bail to persons arrested or detained. Our Constitution requires that persons who are arrested or detained be brought to the court within 48 hours or be released either unconditionally or on reasonable conditions as may be necessary to ensure that they appear at a later date for their trial. Thus, an accused person who is not tried within reasonable time is entitled to bail, irrespective of the nature of the alleged offense.
Well, the party is also warning that the rule of law is under siege under President John Dramani Mahama, as the party says security agencies continue to detain its members beyond legal limits and impose punitive bail conditions. The party's General Secretary, Justin Frimpong says this brazen disregard of Constitution by the current administration has weaponized the justice system. He insists that under President Mahama, freedom has become conditional.
The worrying trend where members of the New Patriotic Party are detained beyond the lawful limit, subjected to unreasonable bail conditions, and effectively denied justice. This practice contravenes Section 96 of the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act 1960, and the Supreme Court precedents, including one in Oko versus Republic and Matipebu versus Attorney General No. 2, which affirm that bail should not be punitive or withheld merely as a punishment, and that bail condition must not be unreasonable or onerous so as to amount to a constructive refusal to grant it. This is anchored on the constitutional principle enshrined in Article 19(2)(c) that a person accused of committing an offense shall be presumed innocent until proven guilty. However, under President John Mahama's administration, a person is rather presumed guilty until the person proves his innocence. This is a shame to our democracy, whereby that the presumption of innocence has now turned into whereby a person is presumed guilty for him or her to prove his or her innocence. We have seen how this government has conducted itself in the Rambo-style arrest and detention of members of the New Patriotic Party. Reference to Chairman Wontumi, Edubuahe, Abdul Wahab Hanan, Gifty Oware, Osesibe, and a host of others.
Well, let's explore this further here on The Pulse. Join me now is Richard Anyama, is Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. We appreciate your time. Quite a number of allegations you're making this afternoon. Let's start with the one at the top. You feel the Chief Justice was unlawfully removed. You feel that the judiciary, as we speak, is being politicized. But under your administration, you face the same criticism. Did you not?
No, well, thank you very much. I'm sure you agree with everything that we raised in the press conference. The idea is that in our country now, we're all not equal before the law. Some are more equal or less equal before the law, which is not a democratic principle. We're all supposed to be equal, the president included, before the law. But the situation we have here is a clear animal farm justice that the NDC is dispensing, and we think that all Ghanaians should be incensed by it, should be angered by it, and we shouldn't tolerate it, because that is a slope towards the diminution of our democratic right, and I think we all should fight it. The concern about the Chief Justice, you know that the process was political from day one. They contrived to remove her, they removed her, and so now what that removal has done is to send chills down the spine of all that are involved in our justice delivery system in our country. That they are minded, looking over their shoulders, most of them bending over backwards to please the administration. And you see, when the NDC was in opposition, they were talking about some unanimous FC. What you have now is worse. Okay? Earlier it was perception, but now there are evidence to support the perception that justice delivery under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is not justice as we know it. It's animal farm justice. Some people are more equal, some people are not equal before the law. They get a pass, other people don't. And I don't think that it's right. It is not okay for our democracy, and that's what our party is raising. We believe in the rule of law. The law must apply in all situations equal to all people. That's how you can standardize it, and that's how democracy would work in our country. But what we have now is not. With
the case of Chairman Wontumi and other key individuals that this administration is seeking to prosecute, the rule of law is taking effect. They're going through the process.
They're going through the process, and by and large, with due process sacrificed. I mean, go to the beginning of the process, the arrest, detention, and the bail conditions given them. Completely unreasonable, okay? Unreasonable. You arrest someone, put a bail, I think want to be somewhere around, I think 10 million or so.
But you reckon that the bail conditions are based on the magnitude of the crime that the state perceives that you may have committed?
But that's not constitutional.
Is that not the case?
If you look at precedent, the understanding or the position of the law is that you don't use bail condition as a means to continuously detain people. The provision for bail is only to allow the person a commitment so they can show up for trial. Right? And so it is supposed to be a commitment, not a means to continuously detain the people. And what you see, you give somebody, I think the Kobna Edubuahe situation, we started off all these situations, was given a bail, I think, about 300 million, right? In what world do you want somebody to provide a bail condition of 300 million. You saw the issue that attended that, the difficulty in meeting that bail condition, which resulted in the individual being detained beyond the lawful 48-hour provision of the Constitution. You saw the case of Wontumi, the same thing happened. Abdul Hanan, the Buffer Stock CEO and the wife, same thing, about 150 million. Right? And I think Gifty Oware also about 10 million Ghana cedis. And Mr. Osesibe, the CEO of NSA, 800 million.
But you recognize that the law is not respect of anybody.
Well, it is.
And so,
it is. It is. If you wait for me to cite another example for you in this rather criminal issue to do with the NDC's MP, the MP for Asutifi North, his conduct. When you and I are concerned and we are all worried, okay, to death about the issue of Galamsey, how it is worsened under President Mahama. And that NIMOS, which the President Mahama promised he was going to set up, has set up, and they are starting to work. And they have gone to arrest people. And an MP, I wonder if he's still sitting in MP, in Parliament now, after having done that criminal thing he did. He went and demanded, I'm coming, no, I mean, you saw the look and feel of it is criminal. There's an Attorney General who's told us this, that you can come and try people on the media. That's what he's doing to everybody. And now this guy has gone to forcibly take the handcuff keys and free people who have been arrested for going against the law, for galamseying in our country. But the
Speaker said
the point is that
he's not going to shield anyone. They have subjected him to the process.
We are watching.
He has actually been. Yes.
Let me just finish for you.
Just yesterday, we got to find out that he's been processed for court and granted bail.
Forget about that. I'm telling you that. So you want me to illustrate for you the same process that he is submitting other people to. Is it the same process that he's been submitted to? A guy was called and then was given a bail of how much?
We can't tell, based on the statement that we put out, that the camp of the Member of Parliament put out. Yeah. He did not specify the alleged amount for bail.
What we know is about 150,000.
All we have heard are speculation so far.
So let's go with the speculation until he proves it otherwise.
Okay.
But the police are there. You can call the police because this is a public matter. So the police should tell us why, or the authorities should tell us, why is it okay for somebody who is destroying our collective survival?
Allegedly.
What have you ever seen the Attorney General say alleged in any of these cases? He is trying people, and I'm saying that he's made it the norm. Everybody can just call anybody a criminal, okay? And the burden is on you, firstly, to prove that you are not a criminal. That's the situation we have. Now, the point here, though, is that why is he treated different? Why? What wrong? Just by being a citizen, what wrong has SCB committed such that he's given 800 million bail condition? Abdul Hanan sat in, he was detained for 2 weeks. He was detained for 2 weeks. Why? So the president has taken our constitution and turned it upside down, okay, and is looking at it sideways, applying it differently to NDC people, and the rest of us Ghanaians is applying it to us in a more punitive way, which we think that is not what he inherited. The president inherited a country where the law was working. In fact, Akufo-Addo took the burden when people in our party were criticizing him that why is it taking too long to prosecute NDC people who were deemed to have committed some corruption-related act. He said that due process is necessary unless you are not at the receiving end of it. So even though he is supervising a process to dispense justice, he finds it necessary to go through the hard and onerous process of extending due process to everyone.
So you feel with that...
Why is President Mahama not doing the same?
So you feel with that the Asutifi North MP,
yes,
due process was not followed?
No, I mean, what is it? The extent to which these people are detained with bail conditions that makes it difficult for them to meet. So therefore, they are detained beyond the required 48 hours. That's not due process. That's not right. The idea of the the Attorney General coming to actually pronounce these people guilty before they have their day in court, that's not due process, because the Constitution suggests that you are presumed innocent until the state, okay, in this particular instance, proves you to be beyond reasonable doubt in a court of competent jurisdiction that you are guilty, okay? But then the situation we have set up by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, somehow supervising, led by his Attorney General, is to prove you, or is to say you are guilty, and you then have to show that you are not. That's turning the order of things upside down, and that's not acceptable.
But this is accountability.
Which accountability?
Accountability to the public.
Accountability is not dispensed in a vacuum. We have rules within which you engage. That's why we have a constitution. That's our process. Otherwise, this would have been what? and that'll be state of nature, be a survival, self-preservation situation. No, we have rule of law. We're a country of laws. You agree, Fosti?
Yeah.
So if we're a country of laws, then those laws must work.
But I'm sure as a political party, you're worried about the conduct of some of your members that have led to some of these cases. For example, the leadership of NSS. We saw alarming rate of ghost names on payroll. Even the NSS boss herself was being paid NSS money at the time when she was a staff. You must be worried about these crimes that were perpetrated under leadership of the NPP. Are you not?
That's exactly the problem. Because you are repeating what the Attorney General has said. But that has not been tested in any court to come to a conclusion that indeed is true. It's equal to me saying, Fosti, the way I see you, you're a criminal, you have committed this murder, because I'm the Attorney General, you have done so and so, my investigation here, my investigation there says you are that. That's not what the law says.
But the AG has done extensive investigations. Are you saying we shouldn't trust the investigation?
Well, then let's just tell him to sentence them then, if that's what it says. But that's not the law. The law is aware that you can do your investigation, but it says that evidence you have found is not fact until it's tested in court. The burden is on the state to prove beyond reasonable doubt. So now you have come to lay out your facts. And your fact is supposed to be sacrosanct? That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Even the NDC, most of the people under the NDC, the former Mahama administration, who were brought before the law, a lot of them, they came, they cleared them. Don't you remember that? The finance minister, was he not cleared? You see the extensive process that he went through. We're sitting here, the MP, Honorable Collins Dowda, in relation to the SAG limit, $200 million, matters relating to that. He got cleared. Even the Bank of Ghana governor, in matters related to financial issues, he got cleared. You understand that? Are you not alarmed? Or are you not worried that $200 million given to build a certain affordable housing? Today, you and I, as we sit here, there is no one single affordable housing in Saglemi where anybody is living in it. But yet the money has been fully dispersed.
Under your administration, you had the authority to bring these issues to light and deal with them. You failed to do that. Now you're crying foul.
Well, that is why
now
you were saying that.
You're crying foul.
So you see here where I'm telling you that Akufo-Addo took a burden of going through, according every person who was accused of one thing or the other, due process. Due process takes time. It is meticulous. It is demanding. It puts a burden on the state with all this machinery to come with crystal clear evidence beyond reasonable doubt to prove that these people have actually misconducted themselves. It is not a day matter. But the NDC is trying to see, or they view, due process as a liability, as a problem. They are encumbered by due process. But it is how the law is supposed to be applied. Otherwise, you have a government that will abuse the rights of citizens if that burden is not put on the state. Because the state machinery can be marshaled, weaponized against you. But then the law recognizes that and says that let the state have the additional burden of going through a process to prove beyond reasonable doubt that indeed what the state says you have done wrong is actually wrong. That burden, the NDC is trying to cut short. You have to go through a process. So now you are now repeating what the Attorney General has said to be fact, because he's gone to media to say that, creating the impression that the people are guilty already, which is not the case. That's not how. It doesn't lie in his mouth to pronounce anybody guilty.
But as a political party, I'm sure you're concerned about the different allegations that have been put out by the Attorney General. The OSP is looking for the man that once held the nation's purse strings, Ken Ofori-Atta. As a political party, you must be worried about this.
I mean, so here's the point we must establish. As a political party, we believe in the rule of law. We came to render a service and to serve our country. If persons appointed part of that opportunity we had to serve Ghana misconduct themselves, we have no interest in shielding them. But what concerns us is that part of our democratic process Where the rules are supposed to apply, let them apply, so that they go through the process to establish their innocence or be proven guilty. When that is allowed, everybody would know at the end of the day that yes, indeed, people were accorded the right and the opportunity to defend themselves, and at the end of the day, they fall short of proving themselves innocent. And so therefore, in a court of competent jurisdiction, if they are found guilty, all of us will. In fact, in all these cases, if at the end of the day, any of these individuals in a court room where these evidence are tested and proven beyond reasonable doubt that they have misconducted themselves in any way, the party will issue a statement to condemn that behavior. But until then, claims by the Attorney General does not constitute guilt, so that we would be worried or we will be issuing statements to support or against their conduct. The point now is that anybody can say anything about you. But the only point it becomes factual, it becomes a factor that constitutes guilt or not, is when it's examined in a courtroom. The individuals accused, not a single one of them have presented any evidence to you or I such that you can balance them and say that they have or haven't. So right now, the only information out there is the rather unfortunate conduct of the Attorney General, which he knows is unethical, to come and pronounce people and try people in the media. That's what is sinking to people's perception and people's minds now, and they think that those people are guilty. Okay? That is not for me to say that they are not or they are. The only point we can be clear in our mind that they have committed any crime is when a court examines the evidence the Attorney General brings and what evidence they have themselves. Okay? And at the end of that process, then we can all say that they have done this and it's egregious and we don't condone it, we can't support it. But until then, what we have now is the Attorney General creating a false sense of guilt in the minds of people. Unfortunately, when these individuals, which I believe they can in court prove themselves innocent, if they ever succeed in doing that, in your mind, in my mind, they've been convicted already. That's the most unfortunate thing about this whole thing.
That this administration.
And in fact, you, the media, you should condemn that. You shouldn't condone. And sometimes if we call this person, or maybe you shouldn't even go. When you go, you should ask him questions about why he's doing this. The courtroom is there. Why is the Attorney General doesn't want to go to court? Now you see what he's doing. He will come and talk to you. You and I, there's an issue, I am involved, you are involved, come and talk to you. Testify.
Plea deals are not illegal, are they?
I'm coming, but it's
part of our legal structure.
It's becoming one too many. Can't he find the evidence? He's not the one who told us that he has evidence. He has extensive research and whatnot. So why is it? I mean, so it means that Untumi can go to him and say, oh, I can tell on somebody, so therefore let me become your asset in finding somebody else's guilt. It's become one too many. Is that competence or incompetence? Maybe it's for Ghanaians to determine. You have a case against a number of people. Now you have decided to flip this person. Oh, come and testify against this person. And then you can walk. What kind of justice is this? He's not interested in the person's guilt also anymore, just because he can testify against somebody? It's a legal whatever, but what is the rational basis of that? It is an abuse. He's abusing the process. And my concern is that, you see, when these things happen and we don't condemn them, they fester. And the thing we all must remember is that after this NDC government, which I believe by 2029 they will not be in office, when they leave, other sets of people will come, okay? Be it the New Patriotic Party or any other party. But I believe it's the NPP. Now, people will learn from this. Tomorrow, when I come to sit here, assuming this is 2029, January 7th or January 8th, and I sit here and situations like this is playing out, I will justify by quoting the NDC. I'll justify by quoting them.
So
and you won't have, yes, so I'm saying that it's a bad example.
You do same.
I'm not saying so. I'm just saying that it's a bad example that people can quote. And you were here. So we will say, but why didn't you condemn it the last time? And what that is doing is that it's setting us on a path to the bottom.
Let's look at some of the allegations you're making.
Must survive, and for it to survive, the rule of law must not be discriminated. It must be applied equally to everyone.
Let's look at some of the allegations you're making. You said some of your members have been intimidated and harassed.
Yeah, that's the same.
What scenarios play out?
You look at where they give you a bail, 800 million. Madam,
Is that intimidation?
Absolutely. What signal does he send? That, you know, we are on to you. They're creating a certain atmosphere of fear in the country. I don't think, and of course not generally in the country, but they are targeting the members of the New Patriotic Party. And that has been the case. All right? Beyond this arrest that we're talking about, even social media. Last time I sat here, we're discussing the cybersecurity
draft bill.
Draft bill that they have. They have this misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech, and the other publications, whatever bill that they are considering alongside the cybersecurity thing. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have. And then one of the key concerns that has been raised is that that bill hasn't even gone to cabinet yet to get its approval.
But why are they putting it out there? But see, what counts is the thought behind it. The very idea that let's put something like this. And so what if they bring it and everybody say, okay, we'll go with it? Do you think that we'll still have a democracy after that? You can't speak. You make comments in your own social media group and somebody is on to you. What is hate speech? Who defines that? The same thing they did with the Chief Justice, where the determination, the petitions that were brought, and the president proceeding to suspend the Chief Justice on the basis of some misconduct. The idea is that what constitutes a misconduct?
But then your continuous defense of the former Chief Justice points to the fact that she may have been aligned to the party. Is that the case?
No. It's about democracy.
Is it?
It's about the survival of democracy. Look, I'm telling you that I've had a lot of conversations. I have friends in Tanzania, friends in Ivory Coast, okay, who are talking and saying that Ghanaians, you don't celebrate your democracy enough. Because what we have here is the envy of many. Our economic situations may not be the best, but what we have in terms of democratic freedom, the right of the citizens to select who should be their leader, president and parliamentarian, is the envy of the world that an African country can figure it out this way. So it's not a thing to toy with. Okay, the conduct of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his party is putting that in danger. Why? Because, see, the judiciary is an equal arm of government. It checks the excesses of the executive and the legislature. It is the province of the Supreme Court to say that what the president is doing is legal or not legal. So the president can take an action. The Supreme Court, through judicial review, can say that that action is not constitutional. And that is the power. And that the power of the judiciary is the power of we, the citizens, against a powerful executive. Today, President Mahama is almost a superior leader. He is actually a superior leader.
Yes, because stated on record that he's not a superior leader.
Do you think he wants to claim that? But the action he has taken to completely remove the head of the judiciary, unprecedented, has created a certain presence of fear in the judiciary. Do you realize?
But to be fair, procedurally, he was only acting based on recommendation.
But that is
by
the fallacy.
Committee set up.
That is the fallacy.
To probe the conduct of the former Chief Justice.
That is the fallacy that continues to be promoted. It is not about the process. Article 146 is clear. Okay? It is the motive that leverages Article 146. That's what is in question. It is political. They are determined they want to remove it. Article 146 is a passive provision in there that they are leveraging. The active factor in her removal is their motive, is their political motive. So if anybody, and that you see, that's the NDC's argument. Anytime you say, oh, they follow the process, that's deceptive. If you follow that, you will not see the argument. The idea is that we want to remove you, and we're just leveraging this conduit to remove you. Otherwise, how else can they remove her?
So should the acting Chief Justice be sworn in when a future NPP administration comes into office? Are you saying because you are democratic, you would ensure that he maintains his position? You would not trigger the same article, even though there are petitions before you?
I cannot tell you that today. I can say yes or no. And you realize that the difficulty is what I told you earlier, that when you are charting a certain path, when you are no more, that path remains. It is up to posterity and others who come after you to say that that path leads somewhere. But at the least minimum, they will follow it and get to a certain point. Whether they will continue or retreat is left to time to tell. And that's the danger in what step they have taken. Would subsequent administration look upon their example and do it? In which case, we'll have a tit-for-tat situation. So it's just a matter of, okay, time when another person comes, you take that off. I remember myself saying that if they ever swears in the Chief Justice, after having removed Justice Tokono, whoever they bring as Chief Justice must be petitioned and removed as well. So we'll get ourselves in this cycle of undermining the judiciary, because if a petition is brought against whoever President Mahama is going to appoint, unfortunately, a very nice gentleman, Justice Bafubone, if a petition comes, he must act on it. And all of us will be in this country and see which Supreme Court will say, Council of State will say that one does not, that they don't find any evidence or any...
No, but there must be grounds for which...
But who tells you there won't be ground? There will be ground.
Investigation.
There will be ground. And this one, there was no grounds on which basis they removed Chief Justice Tokono. There is no ground whatsoever.
Oh, the committee found that.
Let me tell you.
There was stated misbehavior. That's the report of the committee.
No problem. Firstly, just hold on. If the same president who clears Honorable Collins Dauda, okay, of spending 200 million, he clears him. Then he tells me that somebody has a Chief Justice, whatever, has, not that she approved for herself, but a process, a system approved for her to take somebody on vacation or transfer somebody, and so that constitutes grounds to remove her. Then I'm wondering what country it is that we're living in. You should not tolerate that, Fosti. I should not tolerate that, because it's creating a situation of unequalness in our country. What has Justice Tokono done to be removed for an amount miles less than what has been involved in Honorable Collins Dauda's perceived corrupt issue? But yet, President Mahama clears him. 200 million. What did you read in the petition against Justice Tokono that she has misconducted herself to the tune of $200 million? No. What's her crime? Her crime is transfer somebody. It's done. It's completely unacceptable.
As a political party, what do you plan to do moving forward? Will you be pressing charges so that we can see some sort of finality in court concerning some of the key concerns you have raised?
Which court? You should ask. Which court?
But they're the same courts that your administration was accused of packing with judges. You have enough judges appointed under the previous MPP administration. Are you saying that you have lost confidence
we don't have, in my view,
in the courts?
In my respectful view, we don't have a fair legal system or justice delivery system in our country. As we speak now, the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice or Chief Justice Justice Tokono, has a case before the Supreme Court seeking judicial review of her removal. Okay? Would the court take it? And if they take it, you know, I know, maybe you will not admit, but I know the grounds on which she's been removed is not lawful.
Allegedly.
I'm saying that it's not lawful. You look at it, it's not lawful. A lot of skirmishes went into that. And I'm saying that in a country where the same president is clearing somebody of misconducting himself to the tune of 200 million, who was standing trial, he came and cleared that person. And come and tell me that somebody in I think $14,000 or something, which was approved for her to take a daughter or what? I mean, and you are telling me that that is so egregious, you remove the head of the judicial system of our country, a co-equal branch of government, on the same pedestal like the president.
So what will you do
apart from
holding these conferences? What would you do
what
to
can
ensure
we do in a democracy,
this administration accountable?
In a democracy, what we have as citizens is our voice, which also is becoming a source of worry for the government. They are passing all sorts of bills to silence us so we can't speak. Our voice is our asset. Our collective voice is our strength. You see what is happening in the Americas? You understand? The people are speaking. The people are fighting back. That's all we have, our voice. And we are determined to exercise that right. And we believe that the collective conscience of our country will be pricked very soon so that this administration will realize everything they have done so far, they promised people heaven, but they are delivering hell. They told you they will stop Galamsey. Has Galamsey stopped? It's worsened. Their MPs are leading people to fight the NIMOs that they themselves, His Excellency, you can keep saying that English, but I'm saying that we saw the pictures We saw the report.
The MP himself has denied his involvement in that.
Okay, well, he should go and prove himself in court. Okay? The point we are saying is that if he ever gets there, but the point I'm saying is that President Mahama and the NDC promised they will fight Galamsey. They told us at some point, firstly, that the MPP is in government, we have control of the national apparatus, and so therefore we should be able to end Galamsey. And that when they come, even in a week, they can end Galamsey. Where we are sitting today, Galamsey has worsened, and we have evidence of their people from the top, national executives, functionaries of the party, they are engaged in Galamsey.
But if you have evidence based on what you say, why not go to the Attorney General? They always speak. Provide them with the evidence. Let's see the process. Why are you smiling?
I like your confidence.
You do not trust them.
I like your confidence, but
it appears you lack confidence in
absolutely none. I mean,
why?
I've just told you that there are two sets of citizens in this country: the NDC citizen and the rest of us. The NDC citizens get the law applied to them differently. So when they come, so 150,000, and he'll remove it from his pocket and give and go if he wants to. Understand? And they walk away. They are on trial. President Mahama said, clear all of them. 7 people, just clear them, let them go home. Okay? But where is the MPP person? Give him 800 million bail. Okay? That's the situation we're talking about. So there's no hope. And I just told you, we don't have a fair system in our country anymore, Fosti. We don't have.
Richard Ahiama is my guest here on The Pulse. We appreciate your time this afternoon. You're still watching The Pulse. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us.